Hi, my name is Mariette Botma, and I work for HPFT as a clinical psychologist. Today's webinar will be focusing on the emotional well-being of people living with the condition of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, and offers some strategies to help you manage times when you might feel a bit low or stressed. COVID-19 has had an enormous impact on all of our lives, and in particular, it has presented additional challenges for people living with long-term health conditions, including a greater sense of isolation, worries about going out and contracting the virus, and how to manage day-to-day life. In addition, it has taken its toll on people's emotional well-being. My aim today is to provide you with some helpful tips in managing some of the more distressing aspects of COPD and to give you a so-called toolkit to use. These tools can be helpful at any time in your life when you feel stressed or low in mood, but they do require a bit of practice. We'll look at 3 different tools, and at the end, I'll talk to you about how you can get further support and advice, and how to build on these tools with a trained clinician. Now let's talk about COPD. You will understand your own condition much better than I will, and the physical limitations it places on you. All types of COPD share certain physical characteristics, the main one being episodes of difficulty breathing. However, not all aspects of COPD are purely physical. The severity of chronic illness is often influenced by how we feel in ourselves, so our emotional state, our behaviors, what we do, and our mental outlook. By attending to our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors, we can often limit or reduce the impact that these conditions have on our quality of life. What do you find most distressing about your COPD? Here's a list of examples that COPD sufferers commonly identify. Some of them come and go. Some of them are chronic and permanent. Some are unique to you. Some are common to nearly everyone. Some are physical, such as coughing, and some are emotional, such as anxiety, uncertainty, and loss. But breathlessness is often seen as one of the worst aspects of COPD. It has both mental and physical components, and this is where we can help. CBT is a talking therapy based on the principle that how we feel is a product of the interactions between our thoughts, our behaviors, our emotions, and our physical sensations. These elements interact to maintain each other, like this example. In this example, the situation might be one that you are very familiar with, such as preparing to go out for an appointment, and you might be rushing around, getting yourself ready, and start to feel a bit breathless. Alongside this, a worrying thought might pop up in your mind, such as, "I'm going to die." This doesn't have to be a thought, but could even be a very vivid image. This thought or image can create intense feelings of fear or even panic and unpleasant physical sensations. Because panic has a physical effect on the body through the release of adrenaline, which can make your breathing feel even worse. The resulting behavior might include focusing more on your breathing, cancelling the appointment, and even calling for an ambulance. This in turn can worry others, whose reaction then further fuel your own fears. These distressing maintenance cycles are often called vicious circles, and understanding how each element of your vicious circle feeds into the others is key to breaking it. Breaking a vicious cycle often begins with modifying our behaviors. Instead of calling for help or an ambulance immediately, you could try lower chest or diaphragmatic breathing, or pursed lip breathing. Let's practice this together. Follow my instructions and notice what this feels like. Start off with relaxing your shoulders down and getting into a comfortable position. As you breathe in, feel your stomach go out as you are drawing the air down into your stomach, like a balloon inflating in your tummy. And as you breathe out, feel your stomach go in again, like a balloon deflating. Try that one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Next, we'll practice pursed lip breathing. Breathe in slowly through your nose, as if you were going to smell the roses, and as you breathe out, purse your lips as if you were going to blow out a candle. Breathe in through your nose, and breathe out through your pursed lips. Continue for another few breaths and say to yourself, I am relaxed, I am calm. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and out. You've just practiced diaphragmatic breathing as well as pursed lip breathing. What did that feel like? Did one feel better than another? How can you make time for this in your daily life? Because practicing this every day when you are not feeling anxious will help you with muscle memory, so you can use this more easily the next time you feel stressed. The second behavior change you can make when you get breathless is to try several positions that can help you get control of your breathing with minimum effort. These are often referred to as positions of ease and allow your diaphragm muscle to work more effectively, allowing you to use your breathing control to minimize your breathlessness. Next time you get breathless, try the following positions. Everyone will find different positions helpful, so use the ones that give you the most benefit. In the long term, the research shows that engaging in moderate exercise and conscious relaxation are helpful long-term behaviors in managing COPD. The third tool is about managing our thoughts. Here's a technique to help you think more effectively. Let's take an example of a common thought many people with COPD have during an episode of breathlessness. How many of you have had this thought? And what did you notice when you had this thought? Did it make you feel worse? What happens to your mood and your body when you spend time dwelling on this thought? I can reassure you that this particular thought is extremely distressing for all of us when this enters our mind. And if I had this thought come into my mind, I would also feel very anxious. We all struggle with unhelpful thoughts at times, and sometimes we can challenge these negative thoughts and focus on more helpful ones. A way to do this is to ask yourself these 3 questions about your thoughts. The first question is, if my best friend or someone I loved had this thought, what would I tell them? Sometimes we can be more supportive to other people, but find it harder to show the same level of kindness to ourselves, and this can exacerbate our feelings of distress. So the next time when you feel breathless, can you find a way to be more supportive to yourself? The second question to ask is, if someone who loves me knew I was thinking this thought, what would I say to them? What would they say to me? They might give you a hug or comfort you, and will remind you that although breathlessness is uncomfortable, that you can manage this. And the third question to ask is, am I making assumptions about what's happening? Are you assuming that breathlessness will lead to certain death? And perhaps you know that in reality that probably is not the truth. On balance, what might be a more helpful thought to focus on when you feel breathless? So for example, The thought that breathlessness is unpleasant, but there are things I can do to limit the frequency and severity of episodes. How does this sound? If you read this, how does it make you feel? So if we look at the vicious cycle again, and the situation is the same, as well as the initial symptom of breathlessness, but we can see here that the thoughts might be a bit different, more neutral and resourceful. Your emotions might feel a bit calmer and more appropriate, although you will still feel a bit worried. And your behavior might also look different. For example, you might be engaging in breathing exercises or changing your position. And all of this would produce less adrenaline, so the chances of your anxiety spiraling into panic is reduced, as well as further breathlessness. Your pulmonary team have shared with me some questions they are often asked by their clients, and I will use some of the time today to answer the questions that I can. And the ones that require more in-depth help, I will let you know what further help is available. You might have a lot of questions about your diagnosis and how to live well with this. Some clients have said the following about living with the diagnosis of COPD. How can I cope better with the frustration of not being able to do what I used to? How can I learn to let go of sadness that, for example, my retirement isn't how I imagined it was going to be? How do I come to terms with my condition and not use all my energy fighting it? I hate that I can't do what I used to do. It makes me so frustrated and it is getting me down. How can I cope mentally with the unpredictable, fluctuating nature of my condition? There are good days and bad days, and I never know until I wake up. At times, you might also be bothered by troublesome and negative thoughts, such as these ones. I'm a waste of space to everyone. I've let people down. I'm a burden, and it's my fault because I smoked. The doctors tell me I have an incurable condition, and the term is so depressing, and it suggests no hope. I feel that I should just give up. How can I adopt a more positive mindset? I'm worried that my friends will not want to socialize with me anymore due to my diagnosis and the fact I'm unable to do as much as I used to. Some of you might also be struggling with additional issues that arise because of COPD, like lack of sleeping and panic attacks. You are not alone in having these questions and struggles. The human mind has evolved to keep us alive, and our mind is often full of negative thoughts about the past, as well as negative predictions about the future. And it also finds problems in the present. And this is a normal, natural human mind. Positive thinking doesn't always help in combating this mind of ours, and neither does trying to block these thoughts and feelings. So what can we do? By noticing and naming what your mind is doing, for example, there my mind goes again telling me scary stories about my breathlessness, and then focusing your attention and energy on activities that gives meaning and value to your life, you can help yourself by engaging with helpful things that your mind tells you. And in doing so, you can create a rich and meaningful life. So to go back to one of the examples I mentioned before, if socializing with your friends is an important value to you and brings meaning to your life, then notice when your mind tells you that your friends don't want to spend time with you, and name these thoughts. Perhaps you could call them, I'm unwanted thoughts. But then focus your attention and energy on doing what will be helpful to you, and perhaps this will mean meeting up with your friends, regardless of what your mind is telling you. But sometimes we also need a little bit of help in life, and this is not a sign of failure. If you feel that you would be helped by talking to a professional about your emotional well-being, I would recommend that you refer yourself for talking therapies so that you can find ways to manage times when you feel stressed or low. It is also a good idea to practice relaxation techniques on a daily basis. They can help with your general level of stress, your sleeping, and while you are in the middle of an exacerbation. Studies with COPD clients have shown that there isn't only one method of relaxation that can help, so you can try out a variety of methods until you find one that works for you. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't work immediately. There are many different techniques that you can try, and often the more we practice a technique, the more helpful it becomes. We offer a range of webinars on a variety of wellbeing topics as part of our IAPT Psychological Wellbeing webinar series. To access these, please go to our YouTube channel, which can be found by searching for HPFT IAPT Psychological Wellbeing webinars. You will see that there is a webinar called Introduction to Mindfulness that you might find helpful in managing your stress. If you need some more urgent support or are experiencing thoughts of harm to yourself or others, you can access local crisis support services by dialing 111 and selecting option 2. You could also speak to the Samaritans via 116 123. We would also recommend discussing any of these feelings with your GP. Thank you for watching this webinar today, dealing with the emotional well-being of people living with the condition of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. I hope that you have found some of the information helpful and that there will be many opportunities during the week when you can put into practice what you have learned. But if you would like further help or support, please refer yourself to your local IAPT service by following the link on the screen. Many thanks for your time. Goodbye.